welcome to the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelly.
And I'm Scott.
And first, so we want to start out with a shout out, like we've said before, that we would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
The Flicks and Friends did make a comment on our last podcast, which was the Ghostbusters Afterlife, right?
Yep.
Whew, that was off the top of my brain.
It was a long time ago now, it feels like.
That was weird. But they were looking forward to it, and we want to say thank you for that. Dustin, Paul, and Sean is part of this podcast, and they just did Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah, and we tried to do that one time, and with all the subtitles, I think we only lasted 2 minutes. We're like, yeah, maybe not.
It was hard to take notes at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of, the dubbed version, because it just bothers me, where it's you can tell the lips don't match, and then the voice is kind of all just like, hello, I am a police officer, or I'm a man in the military looking for my daughter. And it's just like, this doesn't work for me. I'd rather hear the original Spanish language and read the subtitles, which, is actually kind of difficult. I challenge anybody else here to try and do that.
For real. And I listened to that episode this morning because they're super funny, and I knew it was going to prepare me for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I actually had surgery less than 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And laughing is very painful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are back a lot sooner than I thought we would be.
Yeah, we weren't sure when we were going to record again, but I was like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. It's a little painful, not too bad. If you're curious, if you don't want to know anything about our personal life, just skip ahead.
Yeah.
And you can listen to what we say about the movie that we're doing today. But I had a radical hysterectomy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had some tumors that were benign. They're just fibroid. But it was causing me a lot of pain.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up with some extra stuff happening that made the surgery a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But now that everything's out, I feel so much better.
Yeah, you're just recovering from surgery pain now.
Right. Yeah, the worst part was the gas. If you've ever had abdominal surgery, you know what I'm talking about. Because they fill you full of gas, and then they empty you, but they can't get all the gas out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, anyway, it's super painful. I don't want to go on about it, but doing good. Going to be healing for a good few months.
Yeah, and to show you how quickly we jump back into this, I mean, this Tuesday is going to be 2 weeks from when you had your surgery.
Right, exactly.
Which you're up and about a lot quicker than I thought you would be. I wasn't sure exactly what it would be like. I mean, she had an ankle fusion surgery, and that really laid you up for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, that sucked ass.
But this is quite a bit different. You're still able to get up and move. You can't lift anything over 10 pounds, but
5.
5 pounds? Oh,
yeah.
It'll change to 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, well, that shampoo and conditioner we got in the groceries today, that could have very well been over 5 pounds.
Maybe.
You're like, no, I got it. And I'm like,
Yeah, Scott's had to kind of be like, no.
Yeah.
It's really hard because I feel good.
Yeah.
I just get tired easy. Going back to work, the doctor said 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh my God. So I tried doing some schoolwork sitting in my office chair, and I'm like, this is very painful. This is still very painful to sit up. So I talked to the nurse, and the nurse is like, oh, no, they don't know anything. You're going to be out 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, at least I can relax and not be like, oh my God, how am I going to get through work?
Which now I'm really worried because, you keep your laptop, your computer and everything on your little tray table there. You carried that back here. I don't know.
No, I looked it up. The laptop's only like 3 pounds.
Well, the tray table, though.
I haven't weighed that, but it doesn't feel 5 pounds.
Doesn't feel okay. It is just kind of cheap wood, but...
Anyway, I've been lifting it every day, so...
I wish you hadn't told me that.
It's all right. I'm doing fine. The worst right now is I've had allergic reaction to the glue that they put around my incisions. So they itch horribly, and I can't scratch them.
That's what we've been up to. And, of course, the next day after her surgery, I started feeling pretty sick. And I went to the doctor, and I had strep throat.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa. And we kissed. We kissed before my surgery.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I was just feeling kind of run down when I was in the waiting room while you were in surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And my throat was a little sore, and I'm just like, oh, allergies. Boy, these allergies really suck.
Right.
And then my throat felt like it was on fire the next day, and I went to walk-in clinic, and they're like, Well, it was weird too because they're like, okay, the strep throat test shows that it doesn't show strep, but your throat looks like it does. Your lymph nodes are swollen like you have strep throat. She's like, we could either wait for it to show strep or we can start you on antibiotics. I'm like, go ahead and start me on antibiotics, which I just took my last one today. But yeah, so that was fun. Both of us were laid up. I was sick and you were recovering from your surgery.
I was drugged up at that time, so I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to sleep.
Yeah.
And then a few days ago.
Yeah, as if the fun just can't stop coming. I don't know, I just had a chance in the morning, looked out a window and saw that our mailbox was on the ground.
Demolished.
Yeah, because here in Missouri it had snowed and the road was still icy, so I guess I could see the tracks. Someone must have slid in the night into the mailbox and destroyed ours and the neighbors across the street. Their mailboxes next to us. So they destroyed both of ours.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on that. I'm reading or was looking online on how to pour concrete, like the quick concrete stuff. I think that's not going to be too bad.
Yeah, we've never had to deal with anything like this. Like a mailbox being knocked over or to put a mailbox up. So we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was going to just put it in the ground straight. And my dad says that that's how his and how their mailbox is.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There was a piece of broken mailbox pole still in the ground. And I started to dig that up this morning. And I was like, man, there's a lot of rocks in the ground around this. And as I got further and further out, I'm like, man, there are still so many rocks. And I'm like, oh, God, I hope this isn't concrete. And sure enough, it was concrete.
Oh, boy.
So I think it's okay. I got a new pole that's like 6 feet tall almost. And found online, just got to dig the hole, put the concrete, the quickcrete as they call it, in, and then pour water in and let it set. So that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
If you read in the papers that a house in Missouri caught fire somehow,
oh, shit.
that might,
No, that's my worst fear.
Well,
So
I don't
it's
know.
not.
That was a joke because I don't know how I could catch a house on fire with concrete.
I don't know either, but, you can't be too careful. But yeah, next time somebody wants to hit that motherfucker, hopefully it damages the car more than it does our pole.
Well, this time it must have. Because, the pole wasn't very... I see you smiling over there. This pole wasn't very sturdy, but, it must have damaged it.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
But,
The car, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one I've got now is, a lot wider, circular-wise. So, yeah, if someone hits this, it's going to fuck their car up. And I don't know if our
Yeah.
mailbox is going to move.
Sorry, I know it was an accident. They didn't stop. They didn't come back. They didn't leave a note in the mailbox.
Yeah,
Which
that should be the
would've been
big
funny.
thing. They did not do anything. They just left.
And that's fine. I think we were even talking like if we were kids, we probably wouldn't
Yeah.
stop.
I don't know what I would have done. Probably wouldn't have stopped if I was a dumb kid. But now that I'm looking into this and getting it all set back up, I'm like, this is kind of a pain in the ass. I wish they
Yeah.
would have said something.
Because we could file it with their car insurance and get it covered
Yeah.
that way. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We'll get it fixed and move on with life.
The big crazy thing that's happening is I have the new Dead Space game coming through mail. And we don't have a fucking mailbox, so I'm trying to catch the mailman every day.
So someone with OCD, this is not a great thing.
No, I know. I do have bad OCD. I did catch the mailman yesterday. I had my window where I'm sitting right now in our office. I had my window blinds up, and I saw them drive by, and I ran out to my car and chased them down. I pulled in front of them, and they were dropping mail off, and I pulled in front of the thing and got out, and I was like, hey, our mailbox is broken, it got destroyed the other day, you didn't stop at all. The mailbox was kind of at an angle. She just drove right by it. She didn't even try to put mail in it.
Yeah, she's like, that bitch isn't certified or
not-
in regulation.
Not up to code.
I'm
I
out
don't
of
know.
here.
But I was like, hey, this is our address. Our mailbox was destroyed. You did not stop. Do you have mail? And she did.
Yeah, one was important mail for my surgery stuff.
Yeah,
so.
not the game, but
Yeah, not the most important.
so
Real quick, I do want to make a correction on the Ghostbusters that I said something wrong. I was in a lot of pain on that episode, but I said that, and you may have to help me with names, but the teacher, Paul Rudd, I said that I liked his connection with Finn, which is the guy, and it's not the guy, it's the little girl. So I said the wrong name, and I just wanted to correct that. But moving on after, an hour of us talking about shit?
yeah, we're back to Firestarter. I think we had announced this before the big controversy of this movie just happened, which is the little girl has been nominated for a Razzie, which the Razzies are like the the worst of instead of like the Oscars being the best of.
Was that the recent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the little girl, and I don't remember, I didn't look up her name, but the little girl who plays Charlie was nominated for Worst Actress.
Which I think is bullshit. I mean, if you look at her acting, it is not that bad. There's been worse.
It's not as bad as the others that I've seen, right? We were watching this and we knew that had just happened, and we're like, I didn't really see it as being that bad. But they got so much shit for that. They were like, she's a little girl, and oh, you're gonna just discourage her from ever wanting to do this again.
Absolutely.
And so they took it back, and they were like, all right, for next time we'll put an age limit of no one over 18.
Yeah, they get a participation award. Everybody gets a participation award. Participation.
Yeah, no one under 18 will get nominated. So that's kind of funny. I mean, it's been that has gone on for a little bit now, but that like had just happened when we watched this.
Wow, I guess I didn't realize it was that recent. And I'm glad people stood up for her. Because, I mean, and her acting was like a kid. She is a kid.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Barrymore, the original actress for the movie in the 80s, came out and was like, that's bullshit.
Good for her. Yeah.
All right, well, so, yeah, I did kind of mention it that this is a remake of the 1980s version of Firestarter.
Firestarter.
Yeah, that was doing that the whole time. She's a Firestarter. You just can't. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah, you can't if you know that song.
Yeah, I was re-listening. We Hate Movies did a episode on the 80s movie of Firestarter, and they did that too. But I mean, you just can't. Like, when you say Firestarter, that's the first thing that's going to come to mind.
Absolutely.
Which, rest in peace, that guy, the blonde-haired guy who was doing that. He died of suicide? I can't remember, but yeah, he's the guy that's like, I'm a Firestarter!
Yeah.
But this one's quite a bit different in some spots. It's still similar in story, but the movie from the 80s is more like the book. And I can go over kind of how similar. But yeah, basically, the plot's still similar, as the little girl has fire powers.
Yeah, when this movie opened and it showed the baby, I'm like, I already don't trust this baby. I look at a baby and I'm like, I don't trust you.
Yeah, I put it in my notes. I'm reading it here now that I thought she was going to like have a little cigarette and start it with her thumb. Like, my God, she's got fire powers.
It was, I don't know if it was the music that was playing, but something was just like, this kid's not right.
You really don't get that in the old movie. Like, basically how the old one plays out is we start right away, the father and daughter are on the run. And you get flashbacks of the father and her mother meeting in this trial for this drug called Lot 6. And they tell them it's just like a experimental drug, treatment. And some people will get a placebo, others will get the real thing. They just want to see if it works. And from that, a lot of people get like these superpowers.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, and in this movie, they were like in college. So I could totally get it. There's a lot of college people that do all these trial things to get extra money. So if they were even like, so how bad is it? Or, what's the side effects? They were even kind of questioning it. But then I can kind of see like it kind of wouldn't matter because they probably just needed the money.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what you get. The first thing you see is that the baby sets its little, whatever those things are called. You put it over the crib. I mean, people are yelling it out right now.
To entertain them. We don't have kids.
No, but it's like of the solar system, and the baby sets it on fire.
Yeah.
And the mom and Zac Efron, who's the dad, get her out of there. And then it's like, Firestarter.
And you can see the connection that the dad has. Because when that lit on fire, he was like, his spidey senses was like, something's not right.
I think it's supposed to be, I can't really remember it very well from the original one, but I think they have some kind of psychic powers. Like, the dad has the ability to do what they call a push, which is make people like act however he wants, do what he wants, or see whatever he wants. And the mom kind of has like psychic abilities. So, yeah, I think they both kind of have that. The daughter doesn't really have that in the original, like with Drew Barrymore.
Oh, really?
They do it one time, and it's completely dropped. When they're at the farmhouse in the original movie, she's like, Daddy, the military, or she's like, bad guys are coming for us. So she can kind of like see that they're on their way. And then they never do it again. But in this, she kind of has like psychic abilities.
A little, like almost like an intuition of some sort.
The dad tells her where he's at later. She sees the building. So I don't know. This movie is quite a bit different than the original one. The best thing it has going for it, though, is the soundtrack by John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. His music is great. At the end, when they're in the facility and everything's going down, like you really can feel the
Oh
John
yeah.
Carpenter score.
Oh, I can't
It's
do
the
it.
it's the piano. It's like ding 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 ding, ding. And you got the like the synthesizer like boom boom ding 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 ding.
Yeah, you're the music person. Scott does the music for all of our episodes, by the way.
Yes, yeah, I tried. Was working on a new one, but got busy, and I did have it, and it just did. I put it on an episode and listened to it, and I was critiquing it more than I probably needed to.
No, I hear that.
I was like, yeah, this isn't ready. So we get some things of like the parents and some backgrounds of it. I mean, like the Zac Efron talks to his daughter. It's like really early in the morning, I guess, and she's just playing with a Zippo in the kitchen.
Yeah, you know, like every kid.
I don't know. I enjoyed playing with fire when I was a kid. I just thought it was cool. Like we had these tiki torches we'd put out on the porch or the patio in the backyard, and I would like light sticks on fire and be like, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Doesn't every kid have like a pyro kind of phase where they're like, ooh, fire, that's crazy. What is that?
I think I tried to light something on fire and I just couldn't get it going.
Yeah.
And that's kind of still to this day. If I ever want, like we have limbs that we burn.
Yeah.
And if I ever want to get them going, every time I use some sort of
Like
lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Like you use on your grill.
Mm-hmm.
Or before we had some gas. That was a little dangerous. I prefer lighter fluid.
Dude, my dad burned a stump in our backyard with gasoline one time.
That lights on way too much.
It was insane.
I have singed my hair. And the neighbors are probably like, oh God.
So the whole thing behind this is basically like, yeah, you see it in the credits. You see like interviews of Zac Efron and the mother being interviewed by Kurtwood Smith, the dad from That 70s Show, who was wasted in this movie.
Yeah.
He's in it one time. You hear his voice at the beginning, and then he's in one scene, and that's it. But basically, he's interviewing them, and he's like, "Hey, your family ever had any issues with psychotic breaks or whatever?" And they're like, "What? What does this have to do with this?" But he's the doctor basically that came up with this stuff that they got injected with. I guess you're to assume, like, I think this movie does a better job of explaining it. The original doesn't, but like, they got this drug, they got psychic abilities or whatever, and then they had their baby later.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, her name.
So it is in their DNA now, and it passes on to the baby.
Yeah, and
That's
Charlie.
how that happens.
Yes, and her name is Charlie, and she gets psychic powers and other powers too. You kind of see. We do get to see kind of what Zac Efron is doing with his time before, you know, all the shit goes down, and he's like a self-help guru, like a psychic in like this little strip mall type, it looks like.
Hell yeah. I'd pay him $100.
I guess he says he needs to do it several times though, so because the lady is like, "You'll help me stop smoking," and he's like, "Sure, whatever you say," but he basically uses his powers to be like, "You will stop smoking.
Yeah.
Stop." It's like that old Family Guy gag where he's like, they put smoking subliminal messages in old shows, and it's like, "Hey, how's it going, everybody? Smoke. I want to know what's gonna happen with our kids. Smoke." But he's just like, "Don't smoke," and he starts crying like a tear of blood.
Yeah. For me, I would want it to be like eat healthier and exercise.
Yeah. Same, but I'll be like, "Can you do several? Like, can you do, you have good self-esteem, eat healthy and exercise?"
Yeah, all that. Yeah, I'd have to go back a lot. The poor guy, I'd probably kill him.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is that he can't use his powers very much without it really hurting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what they touch on later, is that Charlie, having been born with it, can use her powers without any issue.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought at the end, though, not to jump too far ahead, I thought she was like, maybe it was just exhaustion.
Yeah, I think so. I think she hasn't used it very much, so she kind of gets a little tired, but every time Zac Efron uses his power, he starts crying a little tear of blood.
Yeah.
And, I think in this one he makes a little mention that, you know, it's like, I can't use it very much anymore, or it hurts too much when I use it.
Right.
But Charlie is untapped. She can do whatever she wants, and I think it's Kurtwood Smith later says that, like, well, maybe later she can do an atom bomb.
Yeah. And I think that is also why he suggested to, what did he say?
Killer.
Eliminate
Yeah.
her. I think that's what was his words. I'm like, whoa, okay. She's dangerous.
Yeah, they do make a period joke at the beginning when Zac Efron's talking to her. She's like, something feels off in my body. And he's like, you need to talk to your mom about this.
Yeah, go to your mom.
I'm like, okay. You know goddamn well that's not what she's probably talking
like,
about.
no. It burns. I think you still need to talk to your mom.
Yeah. I start fires with people. You definitely need to talk to your mom.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I do find that's funny is every time Zac Efron uses his little power, so the audience gets an idea that he's using it, is he cricks his neck. It's like,
Oh, yeah. You do that.
yeah,
Do you know you do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it just feels, but you hear it crick, and I guess that's for the audience to be like, "Oh, is he using his powers now? I see him crick his neck. He must be." You can't just be like, "We need you to take us somewhere. I will take you somewhere." Like, yeah, he just used his powers, obviously, but now he's like,
We're smart enough to know, okay?
he's like, "Excuse me, give me 1 second. Can you take us to a safe place?"
Like, well, since you cricked your neck, I got to, right?
He cricked his neck.
Which
I
makes
trust
me
him.
think, do you have superpowers? Are you doing shit to me when you crick your neck?
No. It's crazy when I lay down and read in bed and I'll like get up to go to the bathroom or something. My neck feels stiff from just kind of like laying down, and I'll do that. I'm
No.
like, oh yeah. At some point, we do get a scene of Charlie in school. She is dissecting frogs with this little redheaded kid.
God, I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, he's basically just making fun of her the whole
Yeah.
time and calling her freak and stuff. I don't remember exactly how it plays out, but at one point they're playing dodgeball and these kids make fun of her, so she runs into the bathroom. She's like so pissed off, and every time she gets mad, like her fire powers start to kick in.
Yeah, well, they hit her in the back of the head.
Yes.
Like he just threw the ball to the back of her head. And even those red balls that you usually play kickball with, they sting.
Yeah, I remember when we did it in high school back in like the early 2000s, just to show you, they were foam. They weren't,
Oh, really?
yeah, they
Okay.
weren't like hard rubber.
Ours was red rubber.
Yeah.
I just remember that. I mean, it was thin rubber. It wasn't like a soccer ball or anything like that. But damn,
Yeah.
it'd leave a red mark. That's for sure.
It would, yeah. So, she can't control her anger. Despite all of her rage, she's still a fire starter in this cage.
Firestarter.
Despite all my rage, I'm still just a fire starter.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
She runs into the bathroom, and her teacher's like... The one thing I hated about this is the teachers don't reprimand the kids. Like, if you see a kid bullying another one, you'd be like, hey, knock that off.
Thank you. Yes. But they're just like, oh,
Like, she's got to learn.
she's just different. So this is just what happens.
She's just a kid. She's going to learn. But, yeah, Charlie runs into the bathroom, and all the sinks turn on.
She turns him on.
Oh, right. I guess if there's a fire, the water will be okay. Yeah,
Just trying to drown out all the negative stuff in her head.
Have you done this before? Run into the bathroom and turn... Is that why the sinks are on all the time?
No.
Yeah, she turns him on and runs into the bathroom and closes the door, and the teacher's like, comes in and is like, Charlie, are you okay? And the door looks like it's like getting beat from within. It's like... And then it gets... Fire pushes it and knocks it off the door, and the teacher gets blown back.
Pretty scary.
And she's like, holy shit, it would be funny if her eyebrows were gone.
Charlie's are the teachers.
Both. I don't know, the teachers for real though. Her hair was gone. It's like, holy shit.
She's just like, got like 3-degree burns all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The principal and them invite Zac Efron and the mom, and they're like, something crazy happened. We need to know what's going on. And you think Zac Efron would use his powers, but maybe it's too much for two people.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Some of the stuff I'm just like, it just seems weird logically.
Yeah.
I know none of this is real, but just if I'm trying to make sense out of it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in the original, you don't get any Charlie at school. You just get some flashbacks of what happened. They call the government agency in the original one the shop, and they just call it whatever in this one.
I'm surprised they don't homeschool her.
That's very true. I didn't think of that.
I mean, I'm sure at that time that was a thing. I mean, it's always kind of been a thing.
It is, yeah. I mean, in the original one, they kind of show her how to use her powers a little bit. The mom's like, well, I don't think they show her like getting trained, but they show her using it a little bit. The dad's like, oh, can you burn this piece of toast a little bit for me? And in that one, she sets her mom's gloves on fire because they're arguing a little bit. Her mom's wearing like oven mitts, and she sets them on fire, and the mom quickly takes them off. She's like, oh shit.
Yeah, in this movie, there was one time Charlie asked her mom if she was afraid of her, and I knew her mom lied.
Well, of course.
Like, of course not, honey. And I'm like, you are scared.
Of course.
I would be scared. Even if it wasn't my daughter, if it was just like a friend, that I'd be like, I don't want to upset you.
It would be like that episode of The Simpsons where it's the Treehouse of Horror, where Bart has powers and he can make people do whatever he wants, and everybody is just super nice to him. It's like, that's all you would have. You would just be like, you want to stay up till midnight? That's fine.
Okay.
Zac Efron's like yelling at this kid.
Yeah.
He's like, God damn it, Charlie, do not use your fucking powers. And then the mom gets set on fire.
Yeah, but later Charlie's like, it was supposed to be you.
Well, that's true, yeah.
That was kind of like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, they're I guess the mom was standing in the way. they are arguing because they're like, God damn, we're our cover's blown. They know about Charlie, and if that's the case, then the government's gonna be not far behind. And they're yelling, and Zac Efron's like, Charlie, you fucking moron. He's just like yelling at this kid.
He was pretty mean. And I'm like, do you know what your daughter can do? I mean,
know.
Hello.
And Charlie's like, Dad, I'm so fucking mad at you. I'm going to set Mom on fire.
I think it just goes to show how untrained she is.
Yeah. Yeah, because the mom's arms, her sleeves of her shirt get set on fire. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, maybe I think she takes her jacket off or something in this, right? Or I don't know if they do or just put it out.
I think Zach puts it out.
Yeah, because later you see him like helping her with her arms, and her arms are burned to fucking shit.
They're bad.
You're like, oh my God.
And she can't go to the hospital because then, the bad people can track them.
True. Yeah, true. But like, I fell down the stairs.
And got these burns.
Because doesn't someone look at her burns and she say, oh, it's not that? She does cover it up later because one thing we didn't say is when the mom is on fire, Charlie calls 911. And they're like, hello, this is 911. And the dad's like, hang the phone up.
Yeah.
And they do. And I'm like, that's the dumb thing. You can be like, my daughter got a hold of the phone. I am so sorry. But no, he's like, hang up on them right away so they'll send cops here.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happens. Because, yeah, the cops show up and they're like, hey, we got a 911 call that disconnected from here, and we want to make sure everything's fine. And the mom has bandages all over her arms. And the officer kind of looks at her like, what the fuck was that?
Didn't she say that there was a oven fire or something?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. Like, oh, a fire, oven, I burned my arm or something like that. Because, yeah, I think the police officer's kind of like, domestic dispute?
Yeah, they're like, you can tell us if you're not safe.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's nothing like that.
She's like, oh, thank God, my daughter can start fires.
Get her out of here.
Yeah, I have it in my notes here. She says it was a grease fire.
Yeah. I mean, that happens.
So at this point, we get introduced to John Rainbird.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a bit about his character in the original and from the book. He is an assassin type guy.
Assassin.
He is hired by the shop to like take care of shit. And in the original one, he's played by George C. Scott. Which, let me get a picture of him, and I wish I showed you.
Yeah, you did. Totally different.
He is a white man playing a man named John Rainbird. So at least in this one, they were like, if we're going to have a Native American character, maybe we can cast a Native American man.
Maybe. A name, have a Native American name and have a white man play it. Sure.
But they're like, well, if he's going to be a Native American, we're going to have to make his character, like, a piece of shit. Like, they keep him in a cell all the time, and he's a janitor. God. We can't have him be an equal.
Of course not.
He's mopping up the floors in this prison when we first meet him, and he goes home, and he's got, like, a bunch of tattoos on his back and shit, and he gets a phone call, and the shop's like, we need you again, John Rainbird. Like, but we need them alive.
Yeah, this time we don't need you to kill him.
Yeah, because in the original one, George C. Scott, he got to be in his 60s or 50s or 60s in the original movie. Kind of how it plays out in that one is he has a fake eye, like it looks like his eye is dead, like.
Ooh.
But I guess originally, and you can listen to We Hate Movies episode on it, he got an eye infection from the contact he was using, so he started wearing an eye patch instead.
Nice.
They cover that up in the movie by him being like, well, I'm going to go talk to this little girl, Charlie. I don't want to scare her with my dead eye. I'm going to put an eye patch on so she's not freaked out. But basically what happens in that is that the dad and Charlie get kidnapped by the shop, and they get taken to this facility. And John Rainbird's role is to basically, like, try and be her friend. He pretends to be a janitor in that to her, and he's like, I'm just a kindly old janitor with an eye patch. And he, like, befriends her, tries to become, like, a second father to her. For some reason in the movie, he tells the lead of the shop that he wants to have her powers for himself to use in the afterlife.
Oh, okay.
He's like, maybe I could use her fire powers in the afterlife. I don't know.
Huh.
And you're like, how does that work? Never mind, okay. And he's like, when I get her powers, I'm going to put my hand and break her fucking nose into her brain.
Oh, God.
Because you see him do that earlier to a guy. The scientist who invented this shit, I'm assuming, in the original one's like, this is dangerous shit. So here's a quick little interjection here. By the way, I edit this. It'll sound like I'm just starting to talk about this out of nowhere. But I saw the mail go by while we were in my office back here. I got in my car, chased her down, got the mail from her. She did have the game.
Woo!
So I don't have to worry about that mailbox getting put up. I will, but not freaking out. I don't even know where we left off. So I think basically he's trying to play as like a kindly old uncle to her to get her powers somehow.
How? They can't be transferred. Like, nothing has indicated that it can be transferred.
I don't know. I really don't know. In this one, John Rainbird is just an assassin. He shows up at their house one day because after the big fight, Zac Efron and the daughter go and get like ice cream or something.
Yeah, to calm her ass down.
I guess, and he's just like to the wife. I think he tells her to like keep packing so they can be gone by the time they get back.
Yeah, and maybe the ice cream kind of puts the fire completely out.
Maybe
inside of her soul.
He just throws ice cream on her later. She's freaking out.
I'd be freaking out all the time. Be like, yeah, give me some Andes.
She's like, this damn homework. I'd be freaking out at her. She's like, I stubbed my toe. Please don't kill me.
Oh my God.
But John Rainbird, he shows up here and he has the mom hostage. And he looks like the Native American guy basically from Fargo season 2. Like the unstoppable killer dude. He was the Native American guy, Hansi. He had the knife and he was just killing people left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're shaking your head, but I know you don't remember. Basically, what happens here is that the mom and him get into a fight. This is where the mom kind of uses her psychic powers to, like, throw shit at him.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, he's, like, walking down the hallway after her, and she's, like, throwing, like, pictures and stuff off the wall while he's walking by, and Rainbird grabs the mom, and she says something for some reason that sets off, like, a huge thing in his head where she's like, when you see her, you will understand.
And regret.
And regret, yeah. And that, like, totally changes his personality later, I guess. I don't know. But we do see Efron and Charlie come home, and you would think from the fight that Rainbird and the mom had, this place would be trashed.
Yes, and then knowing that people are after them would set off some alarm bells.
Yes, because they come in, and I guess there's nothing wrong with the living room, because they're like, oh, I'm going in, let me go get your mom. And as Zac Efron walks down the hallway, he sees all the shit on the ground.
Mm-hmm. He's like, she's really packing in a hurry, isn't she?
She's destroying this place, Jesus.
I can't believe it.
But you're right, yeah, the mom does fall out of, like, the laundry. She's dead. And Zac Efron walks back into the living room, and John Rainbird has a knife to Charlie's throat.
Mm-hmm. Well, the mom falls out later because Charlie gets out of Rainbird's hold somehow.
She blows him back, if I remember right.
That's right.
This movie, I tell you what, this shows you how good this movie is that we watched it last week. We have our notes in front of us, and we're having trouble remembering it.
Yeah.
It does not really stick with you. Like Elvis, for some reason, that movie stuck with me quite a bit after I watched it.
I just watched it yesterday,
Yeah.
actually. And I couldn't get nothing but a hound dog.
Yeah.
Like, that is stuck in my fucking head.
The song he sings at the Christmas special is stuck in my head. It was like, he's like, we're stuck in a cloud with too much rain. I was like, I don't know why. I learned that song on guitar because I had it in my head, and now it's just permanently stuck.
It was a good movie, though.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't know if he's going to win the Oscar, like people saying.
I don't know.
That guy that played Elvis is going to be the main villain in the next Dune movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Dune Part 2.
I didn't know that Colonel, what's his face?
Colonel Tom Parker.
Yeah, I didn't know the actor was.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, I know this guy.
Really?
He was, I guess, up for a Razzie for his performance.
I saw people bitching about that, and it's because he has this accent. He's like, I saw Elvis, and he was the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the real Colonel Tom didn't have an accent.
Well, maybe that's not his fault.
Like, you can watch interviews with him, and he kind of sounds normal. Like, I think he really was from the Netherlands, or wherever they say he was from. But, like, he didn't really have much of an accent. There's an interview, and he's like, yeah, Elvis won a lot of money, and he owed me money and stuff. And, like, he kind of sounds like a
guy.
hick. But Tom Hanks is like, oh, fuck, I'm filming that Elvis movie tomorrow. Let's see. Yes, Elvis. That's perfect.
It's just kind of like I picture like putting your fingers together and just like, whoa, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the accent I'm getting from it. But was it Tom Hanks's idea or the director's idea?
I don't know, because there's been so much media attention about how in-depth Austin Butler went to make it sound like Elvis and do everything like Elvis.
Right.
And then Tom Hanks is over here like, yes, I'm just gonna wing this one.
I'm just gonna fuck this right up.
Like, hurry, I sound exactly like Elvis. I move exactly like Elvis. Yes, hello, Elvis. Would you like something to eat? I'm going to charge you money. He sounds like Conan O'Brien doing a German person where he's like, yes, we are from Germany.
Does.
I am Elvis's manager. Like, cut, Tom. Tom, what are you doing?
You're gonna have 1 million Cadillacs.
I kept a journal. You owe me $8 million.
Jesus.
Like, Tom, here's an interview where he is, and he's like, repeat after me. I'm Colonel Tom Parker. I'm Colonel Tom Parker.
So we're gonna switch and talk about Elvis the rest of this
Sorry.
thing. It's so funny.
Well, I'm just saying that this movie doesn't really hold much, and I could go over the plot for you real quick right here if you want to go back to Elvis. So they escape. Yeah, she blows John Rainbird back with her fire powers, and they get out. There's a very fucked up scene where she kills a cat.
Oh my God, right?
It's very, very... And I know they're playing it like she didn't mean to. Because, like, they're sleeping on the side of the road, and Charlie gets out of the car and is, like, walking around this place, and there's a stray cat.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, hey, kitty. And I think the cat hisses at her, and her reaction is to burn it to death.
And scratches her.
Oh,
is
yeah.
normal. Yeah. I mean, cats do that. They're assholes, okay? But they don't deserve to be set on fire.
Yeah, I do like kind of what they did where Zac Efron comes in and he sees it's so sad the cat is still alive.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's like, Charlie, he's like, oh my God, like, you can't do this. And he's like, but if you do it, you have to end it.
Right.
And
put
he's
it
like,
out of its misery.
He's like, you can't let it suffer. And he's like, that's the debt that comes with this power that you have. And I was like, all right, that kind of pulling a Spider-Man with great power comes great responsibilities.
True that.
But she burns it to death again and be like, yeah, why don't you just end it by burning it some more? Why don't you just, like, step on it or something? Or, I don't know. There's got to be a more humane way than just burning it again.
I don't know.
Because this thing's like...
As soon as I saw the cat, I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh. This guy didn't tell me a cat died in this.
Not in the original, I don't think.
I don't like watching movies with animals.
And I'd never seen this one before.
It was pretty quick, though. It didn't make me cry or anything.
Yeah, because I think it's a CGI cat when she burns it.
True. It did look a little fake.
So here we go. We get the main lady of the government agency, Hollister is her name.
Your favorite actress in this movie.
So I had to look her up because I'm like, I've seen her before. She was on ER for quite some time. I think she got AIDS on that show.
Oh.
Like they get, or HIV in the show or something. Because nobody got away free in that show. Like Mark Green got cancer. Noah Wyle was a drug addict. She got HIV, I think, from a patient or some blood or whatever. I can't remember the whole thing now. But she's the head of the shop. Her name's Hollister. And she is acting like she was just told that like her mom died in a car accident. Her face the whole time. Her eyes are super bugged out.
Just bulged.
Like, I don't know if she even blinks in this movie. Because right here, she comes and I think they talked to John Rainbird for a bit. She talks to him first where she's like, oh, you know, these people are like you. Because I guess Rainbird has powers as well. I don't know if they ever mentioned that.
Yeah, they did. They suggested just, you know, slightly. I don't. Oh God, I hate to say that because I feel like we should remember this stuff, but I don't remember exactly how they do it. But they do mention that you guys are similar.
This is not a movie that sticks with you. It just doesn't. I mean, because she goes and visits Kurtwood Smith, who is the doctor that made this shit, and this is his only scene.
Yes.
And it's what we talked about before, where she's like, we're trying to find them. And my eyes are bugged out, too. I'm doing the whole thing.
And she brings them, like, what, these little pixie sticks? Different colored pixie sticks that's, like, it looked powder.
Yeah. Well, he's in an insane asylum.
He's a little disturbed. I mean, I can tell that.
Yeah, she's like, we're gonna find, and he's like, what we did was not right. We shouldn't have been doing this, dumbass. No, that's what he said in that 70s show all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, she's coming into her powers. She's becoming a young woman. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, if she has minor powers now and she becomes an adult, she might be able to drop an atom bomb on somebody, and you must kill her.
Yeah.
And the Hollister, the lead, is like, well, I'm not going to do that.
No, we're going to use her as a weapon.
Yeah, because she's like, we can train her.
Duh. Because that's what CIA people do.
Yeah. Back with Zac Efron and Charlie, they're walking down the road and they meet this dude, Irv. In the 80s version, Irv is a kindly man who has a wife. She's not in like a coma. They're just a married couple living on the farm, and he brings them to the house.
Okay.
There is a very funny scene because he's like, the dad in the 80s version is like, well, this is my daughter Rebecca or whatever. And he's like, my wife is giving birth and we need to get to the Chicago or something. So, but in the 80s when Charlie gives it away, she's like, well, my mom used to say this to me every night.
Oh.
And so the dad like brings the other dad in, or the farm guy brings the dad in. He's like, let me ask you a question. Do you kidnap that girl?
Oh, damn.
And that's when he's like, no, I'm her father. We're being chased by the government. And a whole bunch of government comes in and shoots the guy, which I guess kind of happens here. And they get away. But in the 80s one, at the end of the movie, Charlie goes and lives with the elderly couple on the farm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because this one kind of ends very abruptly.
Yeah, this whole scene was I don't know, slow but fast.
Yeah, he does something here that's kind of in the original. Well, it is where he tells Irv when he's trying to pick him up. He's like, "Look, we need to get here. We need to go to Chicago or whatever." And Irv's like, "I can't go that far. Are you fucking kidding me?"
Right.
And he's like, "Look, how about $100 and it's a dollar bill?"
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat.
He does that to a taxi driver in the 80s. He's like, "Look, could you take us here?" And he's like, "Here's," and whenever he does his powers in the old one,
yeah,
I showed you it and I totally forgot about that, but it does sound effects where it's like, and it's like, like someone's like DJing it.
Beatboxing to
Yeah.
this.
And he's like using it and he's like bleeding from the nose.
That'd be so funny to do out in public to somebody and you're behind me doing the beatboxing thing and I have my hands up to my head.
Well, that's what he does in the 80s version is he holds his hands to his head every single time. He doesn't crack his neck like Efron. But yeah, he's just standing out in the middle of the street and it's like holding his hands to his head.
Oh my god. Okay.
But this guy, Irv, his name's Irv Manders. He takes them to the farm. He talks about, like, watching TV shows and shit. He's like, oh, I was watching Netflix the other day. And he references, like, Netflix and TV that he watches. This guy has a thing where he, like, has a very normal reaction to things. And then he, like, is like, well, I'm so sorry. I overreact. Like, His wife is in a coma, and she's in like her own room, and Charlie sneaks into this room. And he's like, God damn it, I told you not to get in that don't go in that room. And Zac Efron's like, I'm so sorry, we didn't know. And he's like, well, you're right, I'm sorry, I overreact. I'm like, no, this was very...
Yeah, no.
That was exactly the right reaction.
Uh-huh.
And when he finds out that they're wanted because he's watching TV, and it shows them on the news being wanted, he's like, God damn, I knew you guys are wanted. God damn it, get out of my fucking... You killed your wife, get out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's not true. He's like, well, I'm sorry, I overreacted. I told you, I overreact.
I already called the cops.
I did call the cops, though. Yeah, because they're wanted for murder. The government is pinning the wife's murder on them.
Right.
Saying that Zac Efron killed her and kidnapped the daughter.
Shit.
The way that they convince Irv that she does have powers is she tells him what his wife is saying.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh, she was in a car accident and it killed our young boy, and she made it out, but she's like paralyzed now.
Yeah, but what really happened is totally different.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, God, I'm supposed to remember this. No, I'm kidding. What really happened is he was driving, they were arguing, and I still don't know if the accident was their fault, but they ended up running into another car. Another car hit them because they weren't paying attention, and that killed their son and paralyzed her. Yeah,
she's in like a coma almost.
Yeah.
Catatonic. And Zac Efron's like, I told you, like, she can, do this magic. And she's like, oh, your wife also says one thing. It's your fault.
She hates you, and you need to kill her now.
Throw her in a pool. No, she says she forgives you.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my God.
It was a lot nicer than what we would have done.
Well, the weird thing is that, like, he's, like, wasted. Because when he's yelling at Zac Efron's like, Irv, you are drunk. And it's like 7 a.m.
Well, because he's depressed because he killed his son and, pretty much ended his wife's life.
Yeah, I'd
be drinking too.
Pretty much, yeah. There is kind of a fake news type thing, and I don't know if they were doing that because of Trump or how it is today, but Irv is like, the TV said you killed your wife. And he's like, no, Irv, the news, when does the news ever tell the truth? And he's like, why would the news lie to me?
Oh, boy.
I'm like, are you doing like a fake news thing?
Oh, boy.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't doing anything to do with like the current political scene, but it definitely made me feel like that, where they're like, the news is lying to you. And it's like, why would they?
Yeah. But no, they always tell the truth.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Irv has called the cops, and they're there, and Irv's like, let me take care of this. I'll take care of this. And he basically tells the cops that he was watching the news and saw that about them, and he fell asleep and had a dream that they were at his ranch. That's what he says.
And then overreacted.
I overreact.
Because that's what he does.
Yeah, he's like, and they're like, he's like, I've been drinking. I'm drunk. I dreamt that they were here and they're not. And they're like, oh, well, can we take a look around? And out of nowhere, John Rainbird starts murdering all these people.
Yeah, the cops and everything.
Yeah, he's killing the cops, kills Irv Manders here, which in the original, he gets shot in the shoulder. And then basically what happens in the original is Charlie destroys all the cops' vehicles and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's it. But yeah, John Rainbird kills everybody, and Zac Efron tricks him so Charlie can get away.
Right.
He makes it seem like the forest where Charlie's running into, like there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was kind of neat.
It's interesting, yeah. And John Rainbird, basically he captures Zac Efron here.
Yeah.
And doesn't the cops, like the government, show up and take John Rainbird in too?
Yeah, that's right.
Because this is where he puts his gun down and gets on his knees like he's a wanted criminal now too, and they take both of them in. Mm-hmm. They really treat this guy like shit.
And yeah, so Charlie's in the woods, and what I found so funny is that like 5 minutes in, she's already like scavenging for berries.
Yeah.
And drinking out of a stream like she's some wild animal.
As if she's been taught this. Like, it is funny, she does eat some berries and then quickly spits them back up.
Yeah, like.
So she's like, well, these are poison. But like, you're like 10 years old. How have you ever been taught this?
Yeah, and you're probably used to them having sugar in them, and you have no idea what they taste right off the vine.
Yeah, it'd be funny if she it shows her making
the bush.
Off the bush.
The bush.
It shows her making like a shelter. She's got like a shelter of leaves that looks like a house.
She does make a fire.
Yeah. Well, she can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, well, Firestarter. Um, but she does practice a little bit too, which I thought was kind of a little almost like Kung Fu Zen like. Like, I must practice my powers to save the world.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, absolutely. Yeah, she's got to practice, and it does remind me. I just watched Swiss Army Man, which we need to watch. I think you would enjoy that too. But there is a scene where they're lost in the woods, and he makes a car out of like woods.
Mm.
It's not like a real one, but it's funny. They're sitting in it like it's made out of branches and stuff. And it'd just be funny if she made one and was driving away.
It looks like a very silly, weird, funny movie.
It is. It's actually very heartbreaking, heartwarming too, because this guy's lost in the forest. But I can't say anything because
Yeah,
I don't want to give anything away.
don't spoil.
But the trailers is he's using Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, as his Swiss Army man. He like uses him as a gun, uses him like to chop wood in half. He like pulls his arm back and lets it go. It's like
So funny. I don't. It's so weird.
It is funny, but it's definitely not what you think. It's from the guys that did Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was
Okay, that makes sense.
the movie they did before Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I mean, we could wrap this up pretty quick. I mean, it just doesn't feel like much happens in this.
Not really. I mean, it's pretty. I think they stretch it out, but and there's just a few main things that happen, and it's done.
Yeah, I mean, because basically, what's happened is Zac Efron is getting tortured. Hollister, the head of, and I just looked it up. They do call this group DSI.
Oh, DSI, not
DSI
CIA.
Miami.
DSI these nuts.
do you do you see? Do you see these nuts? No. He's getting, and Hollister is like, you need to help bring her in because she gonna kill people. She says it weird. I have it in my notes. I don't remember it very well. While Charlie's in the forest, she does see a vision of the building that Zac Efron is being held in. She like is in the forest and she looks over and she sees it and then the building disappears. So she's like, oh, well, that's where I gotta go. And we do know that she knows how to use her powers now because she encounters a group of kids in like a suburban like cul-de-sac area.
Right.
And for some reason, every kid in this movie is a piece of shit.
Yeah, to this little girl that they don't even know.
She's covered in dirt and shit like that, and these kids are riding bikes in the neighborhood, and it shows them come back around and circle her. And they start like talking trash to her, if I remember right.
Like bullies. I don't know if kids act like that today.
I don't know. I don't know. Just movies are so strange. And in Stephen King books, people are so mean.
Well, you know.
In It, people are crazy, but I think they explain that off by saying it's the clown, like kind of affecting the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
But she pulls a Terminator here because she talks to a kid and she's like, give me your bike. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. And the other kids are like, the fuck are you talking about? And the kid starts to give her his bike.
And they're like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah. And she looks at the others and it's a quick cut. She's riding off. She's got one kid's jacket. She's got another kid's like sandwich and riding the kid's bike.
Yeah, and they're left like with, I don't know, one of them doesn't have any pants on.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird.
Because she's like, where's the coast at? And they all point like towards north or whatever, and she rides off. So that's to be like, she can use her powers now.
Mm-hmm.
Not just fire, but she can also use her powers to control people.
Yeah, she's badass.
So we get a very weird kind of like small little play in this movie here for a minute, where it's this dude walking out of the building where Zac Efron is, and he's talking to his wife on the phone. And you stay with this guy for a little bit where he's like, oh, what did he say about the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You just hang on this dude for quite some time. And then he gets in his car and he sees that Charlie's in the back seat.
Right.
But you're like, why do we follow? Why do we need to know that this guy's wife is pregnant? But she's...
I guess because of how it ends.
Yeah, because she's like, do you have a gun? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm just a lowly man in this building. They don't let us keep guns. And she's like, I need your key card. And he gives it to her, and she's like, where's my dad at? And he's like, well, I don't know these types of things. They don't tell my department that. And meanwhile, he's reaching for the gun that he's got. And
Yeah.
he starts to pull it, and she
can see.
Yeah.
She sees what he's doing.
And yeah, she sets him on fire. And he's still alive, and she remembers, she was like, it's my job to end it, or whatever. She repeats back what Zac Efron said to her, and she incinerates this dude.
Oh, I can't just hurt people. I have to kill them.
Oh, true.
That is what needs to happen.
Yes. True. Killing people is the more desirable thing to do than hurting people.
Right.
I don't think you took his meaning right there.
I mean, the burns that he had, yes, he was probably going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So, but you couldn't have just like singed his hands a little so he doesn't grab his gun.
Well, it is a black man in this movie, so it would kind of be hard to do, but it would be funnier if it was a white guy, and every time she did it, he was like a little more tan. She's like, "Where's my dad?" He's like, "Oh!" He's like a little sunburn.
That'd be so funny.
As they keep cutting back, he's just darker and darker because she's burning him. This is where John Carpenter's score, as we mentioned earlier, really kicks in and kind of just keeps going until the end of the movie. Because the movie is about to wrap up. It ends pretty damn quick.
Sure does.
But yeah, his score is really kicking off here, and I'm like, okay, this is John Carpenter. Like, that's awesome. I love his music that he does. We see her sneaking through the building. She takes cameras down and stuff like that, and she does find her dad. She walks through and finds Zac Efron, and Hollister is there. She's like, "Charlie, please, you gotta help, turn yourself in, and we could do great things together." She's trying to reason with her. And Zac Efron is like, "You gotta kill me, baby. You gotta murder me.
Kill me." I mean, the psychological damage.
Oh, that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that he takes control of her and makes her do it.
I know.
He's like, he pushes her, with his mind, and he starts bleeding again, but he takes over and he's like, burn. And she burns not only Hollister, but Zac Efron as well.
Her dad.
Her dad.
And now she's an orphan.
Well, not at the end of the movie, I guess,
know,
but she's going to be fucked in the head.
For a little bit, she's an orphan.
My dad made me kill myself.
Her name is Annie.
Little orphan. So we watched a little bit of the original 80s one, and they're in a barn, and she kills John Rainbird because he kills her dad. And at this point, the dad's like, kill them all in the original. And she sets fire to everything.
Firestarter.
Yeah, with some sweet-ass effects, like practical, like fire effects. She's burning people left and right.
Jeez.
She's sending, like, fireballs at people, blowing shit up. Here, she kind of just sets things on fire here and there.
Yeah.
It's like, meh.
Just, what needs to be done.
Yeah. The worst line of the movie, though, is here, right before she sets her dad and Hollister on fire. Her dad's like, "Oh, you burn it all down." And then he makes her, but before, Hollister's like, "Charlie, don't. We'll be friends. We'll make this okay." And she goes, "Liar, liar, pants on fire."
That's right.
And I was like, boo!
That was a little silly.
I booed, and that's in the trailer, too. When I saw that, I'm like, oh my god. But you hear it in the movie, and I was like, fuck this movie.
Is it just too corny for you?
I think so. It's just too dumb. It doesn't really fit.
Oh.
I know they wanted to be like, ooh, she can set people on fire. She's obviously going to say that, but...
I'd use all the puns I could get, man. You know I love puns.
How about the sunburn? I don't know why she's Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I just imagine her with that voice.
My personal Facebook, all you see is puns.
Yeah.
Because I love them.
Don't look directly at the sun. She kills them both because of her dad, but then she's going through this facility and burning it down. These guys in, like, flame suits come in, and she's not able to hurt them.
Yeah.
And this is where she kind of passes out a little bit. She, like, falls to the ground because she just used too much, and they're about to take her in, and John Rainbird shows back up and murders all these guys.
Right. And we didn't mention before, but when they caught the dad, the NIS, what is it?
DSI.
I was like,
DSI.
well, it has something about nuts. D's nuts. The
DSI.
the DSI, they use special contacts.
Oh, yeah.
So the dad can't do any
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
brain magic on him.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they put that in, and they're like, I don't think so.
So the people with the fire suits did the same thing. They had contacts in so she couldn't burn them or...
Control them.
Yeah, brainwash them, so...
Yeah, true. Good call, good call. It's quickly how easily you forget this movie.
I know.
And we should say that John Rainbird was in this facility as well as, like, a prisoner. And when she, like, kind of shuts down the power or whatever, he gets out. Because, like, he's just basically a prisoner to these people.
Yeah, I think they were upset that he killed all the cops.
Yeah, they're like, "You're going to bring down all this heat on us, John Rainbird?"
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in this facility as a prisoner, and when she knocks the power out, he gets out, and he kills all these people that are about to kill her.
Hell yeah.
I think he repeats it back to Hollister at some point, but he says the mom's words back to her. He's like, when you meet her, you will see her and regret. He repeats that back at some point. So when he walks up to her after killing all these guys, he like gets on his knees and bows like in front of her. Like, you know, kind of like, I'm sorry, or please kill me.
Yeah, you can kill me if you want, you know, whatever.
She appears to start to like burn him from the inside because he starts smoking.
Yeah.
I thought she was just drying him off. I don't know why. I thought she was just drying his clothes because the sprinkler system goes off.
Right.
I did make a joke when we watched it. It would be funny if he had like a big afro. With all the he doesn't have like he has straight hair, but it'd be funny like she dries him off and his hair is just a big like frizzy afro from the heat. That's how my hair would be.
We could do a comedy spin on this movie.
Yeah,
like they do with those other movies.
Scary movies.
Yeah, thank you.
Dude, that's how my hair would be. If somebody like if I got out of the shower and someone dried it real quick, my hair would be like an afro.
It would.
It's so frizzy.
Yeah.
But she sees her reflection in the mirror and she's like, oh my God, I don't want to be like this person. So she lets him go. She walks away from him.
Right.
And so she's walking out of this facility. The facility is burning to the ground. She sits down on the beach that's outside and John Rainbird comes. He picks her up and they walk off.
That's it.
That's the movie.
And I thought, surely there's more after the credits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's not.
I think they were trying to make it like they are both alike. And he is now going to like help her.
And maybe there could be another one, another movie.
I did actually see that they had plans for a sequel had this one not just tanked like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
In the original, Charlie, after her dad dies and she burns the facility down, she goes and lives with Irv Manders and his wife.
Right.
And then it shows them, her dad, throughout the original movie, is trying to get this information to like the news, that this secret government facility exists and they're trying to kill them. So at the end of the movie, it shows Irv Manders and Charlie walking into a news office. Wow. And he's like, oh, are you ready? She's like, yes. And they're like going to tell their story.
Holy shit.
So, no, Irv Manders is dead. I'm assuming his wife must be dead too. Or is she just... That's a good point. Is she just still sitting in her bed at their house?
Oh, Jesus. Well, he just got shot in the leg.
Okay. Maybe they're okay. I figured he was dead.
He might be okay.
Maybe so. It'd just be crazy. There's this old woman who can't take care of herself just laying in her bed.
Oh, it'd be so sad.
That was it. I mean, you know, we really kind of blew through it and we didn't talk about it very much, but I feel like this movie is very forgettable.
Yeah, that's okay, because sitting up is not the best for me.
Yeah.
So short episode's good.
Shorter, yeah. Did you like this movie?
You know, I did until we're now talking about it, and I can't... The amount of things I forgot makes me think that maybe I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought.
I don't know. Movies stick with you, and I think the bad ones kind of just leave.
And that's kind of my brain, too. Like, you know how my brain is. Sometimes I do just forget things.
Yeah.
No matter what, if they're good or bad. But this one, I'm just kind of like, the plot's really not that big. I mean, it's very simple. It's just a very simple movie. Yeah,
and the other one can be said that it's simple too, but they do have more characters. Mm-hmm. Martin Sheen as the head of this operation is in there more, and there's a lot more testing of her powers and her father's powers in like this facility. Another thing is that I really didn't connect with any of the characters, which makes it hard to really like the movie. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm just like, I can't relate to any of this voodoo magic stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. It was just okay. Yeah, I'll give it that. Just okay. Watch the 80s version. It's better. And it's pretty much exactly like the book from what I understand or remember. And Drew Barrymore as a kid is just cute as a button. Yep. She's very good as a kind of a scary child who can do this. For real. Not that this child was bad, I just didn't connect with her or anybody, like you said. Yeah. Kurtwood Smith, wasted in one scene. I can relate to that, okay? I told you, I don't think he ever gets up. He's sitting down the whole time. He's like, I'm not going to be standing, am I? No. I'll do it for $10 million. No, so, yeah, that's it. That's all for Firestarter. Don't really recommend it. Yeah. You know, if you go to our social media on this episode and you make a comment, we'll shout you out on the next episode, because that's kind of, we're just wanting to interact with our people that listen to us
And we appreciate the Flick and friends for commenting.
Yep.
And hopefully they enjoyed the Ghostbuster one. And definitely give them a listen. They're hilarious.
Yes,
They're
very great.
So funny. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, email us, thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com. And we really appreciate you guys listening.
Yes, we thank you so much. Next time when we do this, I should preference it by saying we are almost done with the show Hannibal. So the next episode we're going to be doing is Red Dragon.
Yay.
It's more connected to the show than anything because Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs, from what I understand, is not in the show. We've only got like 5 episodes left. She hasn't shown up.
Yeah, no.
But Red Dragon does cover kind of the ending of the last season of the show. You get to see kind of how it was in the book because I think that's more so how the book was.
Okay.
So we're about done. So we're going to do Red Dragon next week.
I'm excited.
Next time.
Yeah. Next time, not next week.
Yeah. So until then, try not to eat anybody. Until that episode, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.